different plants, different voices, and different ways of having conversations. It's time to get personal with plant medicine. Welcome to Getting Personal with Plant Medicine. I'm your host, Diana, and today I am joined by Charis Barrett from The Medicine Woman. How are you doing today?
I couldn't be better. How are you, Diana?
Well, I like to hear that. I'm doing pretty well, actually. Besides the fact that it's a little hot in here right now because I had to turn off the air conditioning for the recording.
Ooh, brutal. But hey, we're talking about plant medicine, so what could be any better?
Yeah, good point. So you recently opened a new dispensary called The Medicine Woman, which I really wanted to join the grand opening, by the way, but a little too far away from that, unfortunately. But next time I go into Jersey, it's on my list. So you started the Medicine Woman as a nonprofit delivering cannabis to patients, which I love so much. What was the turning point or experience that inspired you to launch that venture?
My husband and I had been in the apparel industry for 25 years, and that in itself was at a turning point in general. And his father had been one of the first people to actually open a legal dispensary, not only in the United States, but in California, he had three of them called the Pharmacy with an F.
Oh,
Back, yeah, back in the early 2000s, I mean, Anderson Cooper came and did a segment on them, but it was just there were dispensaries then, and he was just ahead of the game, and had always really wanted to, you know, kind of move into it with him. And we had just been, like I said, we'd been in the apparel industry, and it was just too dicey at the time legally for, we're raising kids and had very legal businesses and actually some very well-known businesses. We were very involved with the UFC at the time and action sports and we weren't really in a position to get ourselves really involved with something that was so dicey at the time. And around 2014, 2015, with where Prop 215 was in California and the opportunities that there were to be, let's say, quasi-legal, where you could, have a nonprofit, you could pay your taxes, you could do things on what was considered the up and up for the medical marijuana, world. We were just in this place. We were in this space where it was, our son was, in high school, he wasn't in elementary, it's some of those personal things that really make you stop and go. It's not just about me, it's, my kids. Not that high school was not necessarily the best spot for me to start a marijuana delivery service, but
it's a better spot for him to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say it's a better spot for you to talk to him about it a little bit more. He's more understanding.
And that's exactly, we're very open. Obviously, to be in this industry, you have to be very open and ready to communicate about it, because there's, a lot of people that feel very differently or very strongly about it being a terrible, terrible thing. So, being involved is going to put you on the forefront of really having to have some difficult conversations in general, right? So we just really felt like, it in itself, the industry was out of place and out of space. We felt we were out of place and out of space, that we were, ready to kind of go for it. And that's kind of what initially moved us in to just really do that. And that in itself was really only, again, a halfway legal space, even at that
I was going
place,
to say, even now, it's still dicey. A lot. It's very dicey, even in California, or especially in California, with all of the amendments and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. And, I don't feel like it is now. I also run things very straightforward. I think a
I should
lot of
say on the
people in the
CBD front,
industry.
like the hemp part of it in California is very dicey right now.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, not only is it, people don't understand that, like, when everybody in every housewife, everybody decided they were going to have a CBD company about 4 years ago, it was hilarious because nobody even realized that a dispensary cannot carry the same CBD that you're finding at CVS and at Walgreens. And even these people that were like, oh, I'm going to get a brand and I'm going to put it in Walgreens, I'd love to have it in your shop, in your dispensary, and explaining to them that I can't legally carry it's a completely different, derived from a different space place.
Hmm.
Like people didn't even understand that. And now all of those, those CBD companies that were, in the local store down the street or in the CVS, they're gone. And it's pretty much gone now. So yeah, it's just the whole industry is so interesting, and it's it it dives so deep into so many different arenas of it. People couldn't even probably even begin to comprehend it. But
No, I mean, I come across that every day almost trying to speak about it to someone who's not in the industry, and they're like, "What problems? What are you talking about? CBD is everywhere now." And it's like, "Well, not really." Not really, and it's not even guaranteed where it is. So anyway, that's all state specific. So to that vein, you're in California, but you opened a flagship store in New Jersey. So what has that been like trying to navigate the differences between New Jersey and California's cannabis scenes?
I mean, it's completely different. Not only, the market and just the whole market and just people that even understand about what cannabis is in New Jersey, no pun intended, everybody's very green. They're just, it's such a new emerging market
And
there.
even more pun intended, it's a garden state, right?
Oh yeah. Bada bing, bada bang. There you go. That was a good one. It's so true. I mean, even just in hiring, bud tenders and hiring employees, it's really hard to get people that even who have ever worked in or around cannabis,
Hmm.
which in itself is difficult because obviously you want to be the people there that are there to educate your customers, your patients. You want to be so just finding the bud tenders alone that can speak on the plant is just difficult, much less, all of the things that you have to go through to to open a shop, to open a dispensary. So
Okay, so speaking of people that you're trying to find to work for you and all of that, like your partners, we're going to skip ahead a little bit since we're talking about it. How did you begin this partnership that you have with the dispensary that we haven't even touched on, which is your partner is Ice T from SVU fame and a lot of other fames. But how did that come about?
the relationship with Ice T started very organically. My husband has been friends with Ice for about 35 years. And when my husband and I got together 23 years ago, obviously that, it was like a connection, and we got along with Coco, and we've all been, pretty, close and friends for 23 years now, all of us as a team. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's how
I know you
that's how
touched.
that's how the relationship started. But moving into how we got to a dispensary is more or less, Ice came to us saying I might have a potential opportunity to, have a dispensary in Jersey. I was speaking with the governor at an event. If he ends up getting if he ends up getting, you know, sworn in and he's
Right.
the governor, he'd
Yeah.
like to move forward with this and would let me know. he got a call, and that's how things kind of moved forward. He called us and said, "Hey, do you think that you could help me out, give me some pointers?" And we said, hold on a second. Let's see if it's obviously maybe a potential for us to actually team up here.
Oh, that's awesome. So you touched on it a little bit before because you have experience in California where there have been a lot of celebrity brands. What is the difference in your experience working with him and seeing these celebrity brands populate so frequently in the industry? Basically, what I'm asking is how do you get him to understand the industry and all of the complexity, or did he already have a good understanding of that from your relationship?
No, I mean, he really didn't, but he was very, very interested and very invested in both learning and financially invested. And that's a thing, my husband and I, being that we, like I said, we're in the apparel industry, super involved with action sports and UFC, we're used to paying sponsored athletes to wear our brands
Mhm.
for a moment in time. It's very contractual. It's very, you're going to walk out, you're going to wear this shirt, you're going to get paid this money, and you're going to promote it for this amount of time, and it's a done deal. And, we would do that actually with, like tons and tons of athletes and celebrities. And we would never really, we had gotten asked many times to, for a celebrity to actually invest in our brand. And that's something that we never wanted to do because we never really wanted to get caught up with one person. It was a very move through different celebrities, the right people for the right time and the right thing. And that's what, pop culture is about. It's and branding and advertising it's about that, because obviously a celebrity and a face brings attention to something, but how you use it and how it works is very, very particular.
Mhm.
And so we really understood that quite
Mhm.
well. Moving into to this venture with ice, it was something that, we did have a conversation with him about. How does it make sense? And how are you involved? And I'm not sure how a lot of the other dispensaries or other brands are involved with celebrities, but I know I would guess that more than 90% of them are a very contractual thing. It's, here's your face, we're going to do this, just like I stated before, very contractual in that, this is what you have to do for this. You get a very small percentage for putting your name and your face out there and promoting it for this amount of time. This is where we can use your likeness, yada, yada, yada. Our relationship in the Medicine Woman in New Jersey with Ice-T is completely different. He has been in this from the beginning. He has been involved in all of the meetings. I mean, we have recorded, video meetings of everybody on board. He has been involved with city meetings. You can go and see when we got our license, he was there
Wow.
with me getting the license
Mhm.
for our dispensary. I don't know a lot of other celebrities that are taking their time and showing up and sitting for hours until they call you and your team up for the license,
That makes me feel so
and
like that just really is heartening, seriously, because it's not to cut you off, but I just see so many celebrity brands, just make it seem like this is a shiny, happy industry when in fact it's very much not. I mean, there's so much complexity, and to see that he's able to like really be involved on every level, it seems like, to see what actually happens and how much goes into it. That's pretty amazing.
yeah, I mean, and he's my 50% partner. I mean,
That's
he's my
amazing.
partner all the way down, like dollar for dollar, pound for pound. And again, going into the city, my husband and our team, we flew there and we were there till late at night. And we were the next one called, and they shut the city meeting down and called it for like weeks later, a month later, to turn around and come back. And, we had to do that. And ICE had to do that and did it. And, changes his schedule. And he's, not only the lead singer of Body Count and a rapper and a singer. He's, an actor. He's doing commercials. He's, got other projects going on. So, yeah, he's not just the guy that says, just let me know when you need to use my face and you need a quick soundbite. You
Mhm.
know, he
Mhm.
he is really personally invested. And, he's got a beautiful family. He's got a wife and a young 9-year-old daughter. And, and that says something in itself to be invested in the cannabis industry on top of it. So, you know, like everybody always has something to say about every industry, and they have their little, talking out of the side of their neck about this, that, and the other that is at his level, that is invested as he is in this industry. Regardless, everybody's like, oh, he doesn't smoke. He doesn't smoke. Well, at the end of the day, there's so many other avenues of why this plant.
Yeah, and you don't have to use it to want to have other people to have access to it either, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. And people that are sick and people that are dying and people like I have brought people, jars of CBD, topicals that have radiation burns from cancer treatments. And, people just think of it as like the person next door that goes up to smoke a joint. Unfortunately, it's just left at that level that most people still consider when you're like, I'm in the cannabis or marijuana
Yeah,
industry. They're like, it's just, this
stigma.
recreational, which is why I still to this day call it medicine. And at that level, there's so many other reasons why it's important to be involved in the plant itself, other
Mhm.
than whether you smoke it or not.
Right, and so really quickly, I just wanna go back to the New Jersey conversation because what you're saying. How about the difference between the attitudes in California towards the plant and New Jersey? I know you said that it was difficult finding people to staff the dispensary. Is that because you received some local pushback? Because I'm just thinking like Jersey City if I don't know.
No, actually, it's funny. I wasn't feeling, there was no pushback and I had no problem hiring people. I just had problem hiring people
People
with a lot of
experience.
knowledge
Mhm.
and experience and education. It's a me. I mean, I've got hundreds of applicants. So
Yeah, I bet you
that has
did.
not been, yeah, that has not been an issue. It has really been finding people that have the background and the knowledge and the education in it. But at the same time, I'm, that is part of the medicine woman's culture is education and giving people a place to feel comfortable and confident to come ask questions and learn. So what better than for me to also hire people that also still need to learn and that are very excited about it? That's what I feel is my part of this industry is to really give people a safe place, not to feel, you know,
Intimidated.
ignorant
Mhm.
and intimidated and, you know, give people a safe place to come ask what they think might be a silly question
Mhm.
and not have it be such a cool factor to it that it's, you know, those people that the term gatekeeping, people away because they're not using the lingo or the terms so they don't know what everything means. Like I still feel, it's such a huge industry. There's so much to know about the plant itself and
Mhm.
what each of the different, you know, herbs and this and that are all involved. I'm still so ignorant and still so green about the plant itself. We all could always stand to learn more. So I just think that there needs to be more people out there that are open to having a conversation
Mhm.
in the arena that they feel most comfortable and allowing people to come ask those questions.
Absolutely. So to that point, do you have, seminars, classes, educational materials in the dispensary? I mean, what type of ways do you try to educate the community?
Well, right now, we just pride ourselves on being a place and a space that where our bud tenders, our management, we take the time with our customers. We take the time to have conversation. We do not rush people through. We don't just like, grab a product and go, here you go, you're out there. Go ahead. We really take our time to really communicate what it is that somebody's looking for, what it is they're trying to help or alleviate a symptom of something. Everybody, again, back to it being a medicine, even if people call it recreational, why do you want it even recreationally? What is it that you're using it for? It's still at that point to me a medicine. So if we're taking the time and we're having the conversations and we're finding out what people are utilizing it for, then I feel like that in itself is giving back to the community. Yeah, I would absolutely love and do plan on having, things in the actual dispensary or having, actually, I noticed in at the community college, the Hudson Valley Community College, and being able to go communicate with the students there and being able to answer their questions is something that we're going to be doing moving forward, and being able to have them come in and answer their questions. So really, again, giving a place and a space, an actual location where somebody doesn't have to surf the internet and ask Google and get a very basic answer, giving people a safe place and space to come and get not only what their products that they need, but being able to communicate with people and ask the questions is really how we're doing that.
And one more question before we end. How did you use your experience when it came to, or how did you apply your experience to the product selection that you carry?
Well, product selection is for us and our what's important to us at the Medicine Woman is quality product, but that serves everyone.
Hmm.
And that means you need a lot of options. Okay. You need a lot of options in the way that somebody wants to partake in using the plant,
Hmm.
right? So whether somebody wants of vape. They want flour. They're an edible. Out here in California, we have a product where it's on a teaspoon, already pre-made, where they just stir it in their tea in the morning. Like,
What?
it's yes, like, the product amount of products out here in California is outrageous compared to really anywhere else.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
unparalleled.
hoping that a lot of the other states are able to catch up as quickly as possible. But that being said, choosing a product line, it's like I want to have as many products as possible, and I want to have them at the most affordable prices so everybody in the community has quality, easy access to the plant medicine where they know they can get tested, because a dispensary is a place where people can go for tested product that is safe. Okay. And in today's world with fentanyl and everything going around, there's never been a time where it's been more important for people, especially those who don't know a lot about it. People that are unsure, they're not going to go to their buddy down the street and go buy a bag of weed like maybe some of us used to or are. There's so many people that come in the dispensary that have never even tried cannabis before. And a lot of people in the industry, especially people that have brands, people that don't see the actual customer every day, you'd be shocked at how many people are trying and want to try marijuana that have never tried it in their life only because it's now legal. All of us who are pioneers in the industry that have been doing it and enjoying it and selling it and around it and its illegalities, obviously it doesn't mean anything to us. We weren't nervous about that. But there's a whole world of people out there that are now excited to try it just because it's legal.
Hmm.
And those are not the people that are going to go to the guy down the street to go and roll up a joint and smoke a joint. They want to go to a place where there is safe access, where they feel safe, where they feel welcomed, where they can ask those questions, where they know it's lab tested products. And at that point, I need to be able to provide a lot of different people from a lot of social economic backgrounds. So I need product very inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need to find product at the top at top shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to be able to find all different types of product
You
at those
really do have a
levels.
great selection. I'm just scanning the menu. Like, it is a
Thank you.
really great
I mean,
selection.
that's nothing. I mean, we're still working. I mean, our selection in California is bar none. As a lot of people know in the industry, but a lot of people maybe that don't know, you cannot carry California products in New Jersey. And I'm saying that for the people that don't know. I have to buy my New Jersey products made and licensed in New Jersey. And there are not a lot of them. There are not a lot of them. So I have what I feel is a great selection now for starting and opening. And that being said, my space is actually, I have space. I'm going to be doing manufacturing at our location. I have 9,000 square feet of space. I'm only
Wow.
utilizing just over 4,000 square feet of it. I'm going for a manufacturing license and a consumption lounge license as
Wow.
well in that space. So that
In
being
Jersey?
said, in New Jersey, yes.
Wow.
So
And
we're
especially that
looking to be
area.
able to,
That's exciting.
yeah, it is. So it's going to potentially allow us, some of our California partners, to be able to produce products, some fantastic products that do quite well, that bring a lot of options to the market, to be able to manufacture them in New Jersey. So that's a whole nother thing to be able to bring to that New Jersey market, is more options at affordable prices, and yeah, that's what the woman wants to do, to be able to bring their contribution to the that Jersey market.
Okay, I know I said one last question, but I do have a question. How did you come up with that name, the Medicine Woman, for the dispensary?
My husband and I were at dinner one night, and we were literally like, it was, it was really that simple. We needed to come up with a name, where we need to go get a burner phone, turn it on, and start answering. My husband and we packed, we delivered. I was delivering for quite a while. I mean, we started literally bare bones, ground up, out of our home. And the name was just like, the plan has been around forever. And what is more synonymous with healing and, taking care of people than a medicine woman or
Mhm.
a medicine man, and, really does go back and stemming from where his dad really started, and the name the pharmacy. And, he really, really instilled into us for really years that, I was never in front of him allowed to call it weed or, just slang terms. It was always medicine.
Mhm.
And, at first I was like, okay, like what up, I get your how you feel about it. But I really started to understand it and get it and respect it on a level that it is a medicine. So I would say just, you know, his background and where he really, what was important to him and what the plant was to him, and how serious it really is, then the medicine woman name just
Yeah, I told my friend in New York about this because I was like, maybe I could make it work to get there to the grand opening, but I had another event, so I couldn't. But she was trying to tell me how to get there on the train, and she's like, I'll meet you there. Dr. Quinn was a medicine woman. And she's like, I haven't even watched this show, but I love the name. And then I couldn't get that out of my head, thinking like, did you get buzzed and watch the show and think of that, or did it just? But it's a lot more of a serious answer.
it's one of those things that it just, there was so many brands with Kush this, and, all of these things were just super slang and marijuana. And being that, again, back to our roots in apparel and branding and marketing, you know, okay, right now it's cannabis, but who's to say in 10 years from now, you know, obviously like dandelion root and,
Yeah.
lion's mane and reishi mushrooms and
Right.
all of these things that are healing
Mhm.
people. We really wanted a name that we could use really for anything. We didn't want it just to stop at cannabis. We wanted, because there's so many medicines out there, and we wanted a name that could reach all of those things in general and moving forward. So, and then on top of it, being able to go and figure out if that name is even available. When we saw that the name was even available around the world for that, it was kind of a done deal right then and there. And we looked it up and we applied, like while we were at dinner, we were just grabbing the .com. We were grabbing like the name because we just knew, like, we have this idea that when you speak an idea out into the world, and if you don't move on it, the idea is out there for somebody else to grab. It's like this universal thing. So we just believe, like, if we don't grab it now, whether we use it or not, like somebody else will. So we grabbed it and we found ourselves, it was funny, just a side note, we found sitting there as we're doing, starting this business, and we were whispering about it. We didn't want anybody to hear us because we were talking about marijuana, and it was so, and I turned, I said, hold on, babe, we're getting ready to start this business where we want people to buy and come to us. I don't think we should be whispering. I think we've got to get used to being able to being confident and comfortable and ready to
Mhm.
speak about this out loud, no matter how people feel about it, because we can't go into a business and be, offering medicine or selling something when we're whispering about it
Right.
either. So it was
Mhm.
just kind of funny of the kind of dynamic of how that whole evening kind of started with naming it and realizing, okay, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, and it was just a go. So
Sorry, I'm laughing because people can't see this, but her dog keeps trying to get into the shot, and I can totally relate to that. But it's so funny because it just keeps climbing up on your shoulder while you're
well, this
talking.
is my Athena, and she's my shoulder sitter. But if you didn't notice, I have four black Chihuahua mixes. I have mom, dad, and two babies.
Oh,
So at one point, they were all trying to get to me, and I had to shove them off of me.
yeah.
But yes, this is my nonstop over here at my household.
Yeah, they were, like, multiplying, but hey, you know what? They are a lot quieter than my dog, my one dog.
They
They're
were multiplying. So
Well, I really appreciate you taking your time today, and I love what you said about the medicine woman because that completely fits with what we do here at Getting Personal. So I would love to have you come back anytime and talk about other plants and other things that you're doing with the medicine woman. So before we go, where can people find you and how can they support you?
well, first and foremost, if you want to find out about the Medicine Woman and our mission and who we are, you can always go to themedicinewoman.com. And then you can check out on there kind of about us and who we are and see what we carry at either of our shops. So you can go check out what we have at our Bellflower shop in California. You can check out what we've got in our New Jersey City shop. And you can check us out on Instagram as well. Instagram is a very interesting thing in the cannabis world because they, shut you down all the time if you're not saying or doing the right thing, or somebody just wants to report you, which
Mhm.
happens all the time. I've had about 7 accounts and lost, 80, 90,000 followers through the
Mhm.
time. So, I don't love it for that reason, Instagram. But again, we have a beautiful brand new app, the Medicine Woman app. So I
Wow.
highly suggest, if anybody, in our areas of near our shops, and you want the local daily deals or what we have going on or events or things happening, the app is a great way to stay in touch with us. You can always find me online or Instagram. I'm Cheris B, Cheris _B. My husband, Luke Barrett. yeah, just come find us. We're always available to chat, answer any questions, and yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to chat. I chat with you anytime. I love other medicines as well, so I'm always available to chat other things as well. And thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate you giving me the platform.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Your Highness Media. Subscribe to our podcast. Would you subscribe to Your Highness Media?
This podcast has been a product of Your Highness Media. Each episode is written, produced, and edited by Your Highness Media. Thank you for listening.